Welcome to Integrity and Joy. I'm Steve Walker. This is episode 14 of Integrity and Joy. Mindfulness can change your life. For real. So welcome to Integrity and Joy. I am Steve Walker, former U.S. diplomat, activist, educator, and now life coach, meditation teacher, and podcaster. Welcome to the show. If this is a return visit, welcome back, and thank you for your support, and hope you're following the show wherever you get your podcasts. And if you're new to the show, thanks for joining. I hope you like this episode, and I hope you go back and listen to the earlier episodes because there's some really good ones in there, if I do say so myself. Some really interesting people with interesting stories, and I think some important themes. Today's theme is near and dear to my heart. It's a topic of passion for me, mindfulness. And it actually surprised me when I was figuring out what I wanted the theme to be for this episode. It surprised me that I hadn't done this one yet, because I think it's so important and essential. But anyway, so I'm excited about talking about mindfulness with you today. Maybe debunking some myths, and for those of you who practice mindfulness, hopefully a lot of this will resonate with you. And for those of you who don't, I think you just might end up getting turned on to mindfulness today. So thanks for tuning in. And again, I hope you're following. Please rate and review the podcast if you haven't already. We'd love to get as many 5-star ratings as we can, because that helps us get the podcast in front of more people who might benefit from it or enjoy listening to it or be inspired. So thank you in advance for doing that. And I hope you're also following on social media at Integrity and Joy on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube and LinkedIn and most other places, Threads, Blue Sky. And also hoping that if any of this resonates with you and you think you'd like or could benefit from some life coaching or joining an integrity circle, which is kind of like a mastermind, a group of people committed to each other's personal and professional growth, that you'll reach out. Either send me a text message, or which you can do wherever you got the podcast, or go to integrityandjoy.com and you can sign up for a free initial consultation, and we can explore how I could be of help. So please do that. Anyways, let's get started talking about mindfulness. First, mindfulness is not just about meditation. I'm going to talk about meditation for sure, but it's not just meditation, and I'll get into explaining how and why. But I was first introduced to the concept of mindfulness when I was a teenager, probably about 15 years old, when I started studying the martial arts. I had this incredible experience. I practiced and studied and taught the martial arts for over 20 years. And lots of different styles and systems of martial arts, lots of different places. And but my first instructor, Rocky DeRico, who at the time had a school in Watertown, Massachusetts, he introduced me to meditation. And a couple of the other instructors and students also were very into it. And we would meditate a little bit at the beginning of class, and sometimes at the end of class. And in the beginning, I got to tell you, I was skeptical. I thought it was a little weird and uncomfortable, for a 15-year-old at that time. And but relatively quickly, I found it to be quite powerful. And this was, in the late 1970s, so we didn't have cell phones and social media. And, TV was 3 channels plus a few more that were fuzzy that you could tune into sometimes. You really didn't have all the distractions that we have today. And yet still, the idea of sitting or kneeling in silence and trying to quiet my mind and become an observer of my thoughts and my surroundings um, was new and different in the beginning, again, uncomfortable, but very quickly I realized how powerful it was, what a gift it was. Um, and I can honestly tell you that over the course of the next, oh God, what is it now, 40 something years, right, since then, um, that one of the common threads in my life is that when I have a relatively consistent mindfulness practice, my life is dramatically better than when I don't. There aren't many other things that I can point to that have that kind of consistent impact. Sleep, I suppose, is one of them. Maybe nutrition. Um, that's about it, right? I guess maybe the quality of my relationships, but I've been pretty lucky to have had lots of good people in my life, family, friends, partners, and so you know I've had a lot of consistency in that part of my life, even when I've had a relationship or a situation that wasn't going well. I had other people in my life to support me and feel loved and all that. I'd say mindfulness really is like it's up there. It's one of those top two or three most important things that determines whether I'm having a good, joyful, manageable life or not. And and there's a lot of research that's been done over the last 25 years or so that shows us why. All right, that there are concrete reasons for why um, mindfulness, including meditation, can really have a profound impact on our brains and on our day to day existence. In my case, um, I feel like when I'm meditating regularly, um, I'm more resilient. I bounce back quicker when things don't go well. Um, I'm better able to focus and produce work or focus in a conversation with somebody. I'm much more aware of my emotions and am better able to manage them. Right, so my emotional intelligence goes up. Um, I'm less prone to catastrophizing, blowing things out of proportion. Um, I'm calmer. I'm more patient with myself and with other people. Um, I think I have probably a bit more discipline as well. So there are real concrete differences. I'd say in particular that it's that I enjoy in a very mindful way the good moments in life better, and I manage the difficult ones better, so they have less of an impact on me, and I'm better able to rebound from setbacks or bad things that happen. Um, so that's pretty amazing. The research that's out there is pretty extensive. There's this wonderful book came out a couple of years ago, Altered Traits by Daniel Goleman, who's the guy who wrote that first book on emotional intelligence years ago, um, and and his friend and also a very renowned researcher, Richard Davidson, um, on the science uh, that reveals how meditation changes your mind, brain, and body. It's a great book. I'll put a link to it in the show notes. You go to my website also, and you can buy it from an independent bookseller. But they talk about the research that's been done that shows changes to the brain, right? And brain growth in important areas. And again, the greater ability to focus, development of empathy and compassion from certain types of meditation. It's really, really quite amazing and compelling. So I'm a big fan, a big proponent. I get that it's easy sometimes to feel intimidated by it or to feel like we're too busy to meditate or to be practicing mindfulness. But hopefully by the end of this episode, you'll feel a little bit differently about that and embrace it more. So what is mindfulness? Mindfulness is basically being able to practice being more observant of yourself, your thoughts, your actions, and what's happening around you. Your surroundings, the people that you're interacting with, the environment, nature, etc. Right? That you're not mindlessly going through your day, lost in your thoughts, in your head, in your inner critic, the inner voice that's constantly chirping at you. But rather, some of the time, and hopefully with practice, more of the time, you are able to really be present in the current moment and be able to observe, enjoy, experience what's right in front of you. Not to be distracted by worrying about the past or the future, right? The past is an inaccurate memory of what happened. We don't remember what actually happened. I mean, there are like several hundred people or something like that on the planet who actually remember every moment of their lives accurately. We're obviously not talking about them. For the rest of us, we don't remember the past, even yesterday, completely or accurately. And so worrying about it, spending a lot of time dwelling on it, not very productive, right? It's as if you were constantly preoccupying yourself with a novel that you read 5 or 10 years ago, right? You don't remember it accurately. It was a novel, it's fiction. Like, why would you spend a lot of time dwelling on it, right? But the past really is something that preoccupies a lot of us, and we need to try to do that less so. And the future is unwritten. No matter how much you think you know what's going to happen, even tomorrow, you don't. Because you have no idea what's going to happen. We are co-creating our lives, right? We have a role in creating our lives, but we are co-creating with the rest of the universe, right? With all the other people in our lives and on the planet and all the energy in the universe. We don't know what's going to happen. Who's going to come into our life? Who's going to leave our life, right? You know, are we going to get sick tomorrow? Are we going to be healthy? You name it, right? What the weather's going to be like. So many things can happen. And particularly right now, it just feels like so many things are uncertain given the political, social environment that we're living in, that worrying too much about the future is just a fool's errand, right? Being present and focused on what's right in front of us, what we can control, which is now, this moment. It's the only thing that's real. That's what we should be focusing on as much of the time as possible. Now, some people are going to say, you know, boy, that sounds nice in theory, but my mind is so busy. I could never silence my mind by worrying about the past or the future. I've got this, you know, hyperactive brain. I'm easily distracted. I have ADHD, whatever. Yeah, sure. Does that make it more challenging for you? Sure. That's why you need mindfulness in your life more than anyone else. We all need it, but you probably need it more. And that's the point, right? It's that we're practicing, we're building a muscle in a way to become more of the observer, right? To be less controlled, not completely uncontrolled by our inner critic, right? by our worries about the past or the future. It's to be less so, right? This isn't about perfect, right? I heard an interview or read an interview with the Dalai Lama once talking about meditation, and the person asked him, how long do you typically go before you have thoughts intrude when you're meditating? And he said, I don't know, every 3 or 4 seconds. Every 3 or 4 seconds. That's the Dalai Lama. He's been doing this his whole life, right? So the idea is not perfect, completely silent mind. No, it's to become more of an observer, right? Rather than to let that voice in your head, usually of worry and anxiety, of negativity, run your life. Instead, to realize when it starts chirping at you and then go, oh, look what's happening. It's that thing again. Some people even name it. Oh, it's grandma, cranky grandma in the corner, or grandpa on the rocking chair. Grandpa, grandma, just go sit in the rocking chair. Don't bother me right now. Or call it Hank, whatever. Give it a name, right? A psychologist I used to work with called it the anxiety fish. Don't feed the fish, right? Whatever works for you. But to understand, that's not your authentic self. That is your nervous system when it gets dysregulated. It's your amygdala, which is looking for threats and fears all the time, right? That's what it's about. So we have 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day, they say. And a majority of them often are negative and repetitive. That's a miserable way to let your life be led by this largely negative voice in your head trying to make you worried and anxious about stuff you can't control. So the whole point of mindfulness is to try as much as possible to lessen the negative thoughts, to turn down the volume and the frequency of those negative thoughts so that you can be more present in the current moment, which is where you have more control, more influence over your life, and where you can enjoy the moments, solve the problems, right? And be more joyful and more loving, hopefully, because you're less consumed with the worries about the past and the future, right? To really enjoy the good moments and to deal calmly and effectively with the challenging moments. That's what mindfulness does for you, right? So it can reduce your stress and anxiety, right? You're worrying, and it can therefore bring you a little bit more peace, more moments of peace, and it can help you be more focused when you need to be focused and get done what you need to get done and do it better and more efficiently, right? That's the idea. You're going to get distracted, right? I always tell people when I'm leading a meditation that thoughts are going to intrude. That's what they do. But be the observer. Don't be controlled by them, right? Don't go down the rabbit hole they want to lead you down. Observe them. Ah, that's interesting. I had that thought. Let it go. Let it come in, let it go. And then choose to return to whatever you're trying to be present for. If you're meditating, it's your breathing or the person's voice who's leading the meditation. If you're washing the dishes, it's washing the dishes. If it's taking a walk out in nature, it's looking at the trees and the birds and the chipmunks, or if you're walking along the water, the birds by the beach or the seashells or whatever, right? It's being present. If you're having a conversation with somebody and you find yourself distracted, it's about bringing yourself back to the conversation and actually listening to them, right? When we're having a conversation with somebody, we're usually either distracted, thinking about something else, or we're rehearsing what we want to say next. We're not actually giving our full attention to the person who's speaking to us. Mindfulness can help you do that more. Again, you're not going to be perfect. That's not the point. When you get focused on, I can never turn it off completely, I can never focus completely, that's why I'm not going to try. That's self-sabotage. You're afraid of how difficult it's going to be. Well, be courageous. This is not the most courageous thing you'll need to do in your life, right? And remind yourself, have a good laugh. I'm not trying to be perfect. This is not about perfect. That's impossible. Even the Dalai Lama can't be perfect, right? He can't turn off that inner voice. But he can try to be more of an observer and be able to refocus. Essentially, you're training your brain to refocus on what's right in front of you, right? Rather than thinking about, I've got to make my brain silent. Sure, there are silent meditations and practices where you are trying to quiet your inner voice, but even then, the expectation isn't that it's going to be completely silent up there. I'm sure there are some people who can do that for some amount of time, but for most of us, that's not what's going to happen. We're trying to train ourselves to refocus and not be dictated to and controlled by that inner voice of anxiety and worry and criticism, doubt, negativity. That's what we're trying to do. So, in trying to do that, there are lots of ways to practice mindfulness. Meditation, for sure, is one of them, right? Where you could, for a certain amount of time, it could be a minute or 3 minutes or 5 minutes or 20 minutes or an hour, whatever, to sit comfortably in a chair, on the floor, on a cushion, lying down, while walking outside, right? There are lots of ways that you can meditate. And just trying to focus on your breathing, right? And there are different breathing exercises you can do to focus on, right? Some, do a square, they call it, breathing exercise, where you breathe in for 4 seconds, you hold it for 4 seconds, you breathe out for 4 seconds, you hold it again for 4 seconds, then you repeat. In for 4 seconds, out, or hold it for 4 seconds, out for 4 seconds, hold it for 4 seconds. You could do that. Some people will do a body scan while they're focusing on their breathing. So they'll kind of check their body, like, okay, how's the crown of my head? Is that relaxed? How are my forehead, my eyes, right? Are they relaxed? Are my teeth clenched? Right? Can I feel the cool air coming in through my nose and the warm air going out? Is my neck relaxed and loose? Right? You just work your way through your body. You can do a body scan on your own. So there are different ways that you can meditate on your own. You can do guided meditations, right? Where you listen to someone leading you through some form of meditation. And there are, probably millions of guided meditations out there. And they are available on wonderful apps, including 2 that I'm on, Aura, Aura, and Insight Timer. And they're both fantastic. They have countless guided meditations from wonderful meditation teachers. Aura also has life coaching available. I life coach on there as well. And both of them have live events that you can join and participate in. And courses, right? Insight Timer has them now. Aura will be launching courses. And Insight Timer has groups you can join with instructors, with coaches or meditation teachers. And Aura is launching those as well. So they're great options for you to start participating in and using guided meditations, right? Pre-recorded ones or live events, right? Where you're meditating with other people at the same time all over the world. So they're great. So you can do that. There's a type of meditation that I really love that can help build empathy and self-love. It's called a loving kindness or metta meditation. And, where you basically go through, sending out really great energy, wishes, love, compassion for other people and for yourself, right? And there are different kind of versions of it, lots of different iterations. That's a really powerful one. It can have a real powerful impact on you, your mood, and how you feel about yourself, how you feel about other people. your empathy, your compassion. So loving kindness is a really great type of meditation to do. Um, so there are lots of options. And try them. Try different ones. Try different instructors, right? Different meditation teachers. Because you're going to like different people's voices and different people's styles, right? I've got my favorites. On Insight Timer, I love Sarah Blondin. I think she's so poetic and inspirational, and her voice is wonderful. I just think her meditations are fantastic. I'm not always in the mood for one of those, though. So there are other teachers on Aura and Insight Timer that I use. Or sometimes I just want to do a silent meditation by myself, right? So that's one way you can practice mindfulness, right? And build that muscle and grab some moments of peace, reflection, quiet, right? Solitude, which is very healthy for you, right? Gives your subconscious some processing time with your brain and disconnects you a little bit, right? It can lower your blood pressure and your pulse and bring you some calm just even in and of itself. It's great. So practicing building that muscle through meditation, it's a great option for mindfulness. But you can practice mindfulness in other ways. Yoga is a fantastic one. I love yoga. I had a great yoga class this morning. Really fantastic. But there's yoga online, right? YouTube. If you're a Peloton member, they have great instructors. Yoga is really fantastic because it's almost like moving meditation, right? It is mindfulness by getting you focused on the current moment, on the present moment, by getting really in touch with your body, right? And being really focused on what you're doing with your body in each moment. And it's wonderful for you physically, but it's also wonderful for you spiritually, mentally, in terms of building up your mindfulness practice. To be really just in the moment, right? Focused on your body and the different movements that you're doing and the poses that you're doing in your yoga practice. It's powerful, right? It's a real gift to yourself. And it's a great way to build up your mindfulness practice. There's walking meditations, but also just taking a walk and trying to be mindful on the walk. Being observant, not listening to a podcast or music or anything, just observing, right? That's part of what you really are trying to do with mindfulness, is to become more of an observer, right? To be able to turn on the observer mode, because that's when you're really your authentic self. When you're observing and interacting with the world around you in the moment, right? Just totally in that moment. And so, being observant of the grass and the leaves and the water and the sounds around you, right? That in and of itself is a mindfulness practice. When I was really into cycling, that was a real mindfulness practice for me. I would just get totally into that zone, right? One with the bike, the rhythm of the pedaling and the sound of the wheels, right? And observant of everything around me, the road and the cars and other cyclists and pedestrians and animals and the trees and all that. Like I was really just in the moment, just totally in a zone of mindfulness practice while I was cycling. So much of the time, not all the time, of course, got distracted, but much of the time I really could get into that zone of mindfulness. It was really powerful. So that's another way. But doing any kind of task, mundane task, I mentioned earlier, washing the dishes. I myself, I've really come to love washing the dishes because it is a mindfulness practice for me. I love the idea of just being focused on right now, I am cleaning this plate. I am cleaning this pot or pan. And I'm just focused on trying to get it clean. And what do I need to do to get this clean, to get this dirt or food off of it, whatever. And then the satisfaction in the moment of being able to look at that clean plate or pot or pan or whatever and go, oh, look at that. I just cleaned that. That feels productive, right? And it may sound silly to some of you, like, oh my God, he's talking about mindfulness practice, washing the dishes. But it's part of it. We're so caught up in distracting ourselves and being preoccupied with everything else going on in the world and social media and celebrities and politics and you name it, in addition to our own lives, right? That it's hard to find these moments in our days where we can just be. Just be. And so, yeah, it's nice to have a few moments to just be while I'm washing the dishes. And it's a way to practice your mindfulness. So if you're like, well, I don't have time to meditate today because I don't have the free 3 minutes to meditate, which we all know is bunk. But you're probably going to have to do something like do the laundry or wash the dishes or prepare dinner, right? Something like that. That's a pretty routine task. And during that, why not just do it mindfully? Just try to be in the moment and observing and noticing, right? And appreciating and enjoying whatever that task is, right in front of you. So that's a way you can practice mindfulness, right? So there are many, many ways that you can try to practice mindfulness. And anything that requires or you'd like to provide some focus to, you can practice mindfulness that way too, right? You're listening to a beautiful piece of music. Practice mindfulness, right? Close your eyes, listen to the music. Try not to get lost in any thoughts in your mind, right? Thoughts are going to come in. We know that. That's what they do. Observe it, let it go, come back to the music, right? Not thinking about analyzing the music or anything, just listening to it. And when you get distracted by some thoughts, go, okay, yeah, here we go. Back to the music. That's it. Practice that. When's the last time you actually sat down and just listened to some music? It's a gift. I used to do that all the time when I was a kid. And I rarely do it now, right? I'm usually listening to music when I'm doing something else. It's a gift when I allow myself to sit down and just be focused on the music. So maybe try that, right? So again, that's your mindfulness practice can be lots of different things. I do highly recommend you try meditation, have that be a part of it. Journaling sometimes can also be a mindfulness practice, to be in the moment, just reflecting, setting intentions for the day. Gratitude can be a part of a mindfulness practice, right? To let me be focused for a moment on the good things in my life. And that gratitude, a gratitude meditation, or just a gratitude, little bit of journaling, just taking a minute to stop, close your eyes, and think about what you're grateful for. That kind of mindfulness, right? That can boost your mood, right? Literally, it can pump some nice positive chemicals into your brain, and it can boost your mood, right? So lots of different ways that we can practice mindfulness. But I do recommend try some meditation. Again, short ones to start out, 1 minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. You can find them on Aura. You can find them on Insight Timer. If you'd like some recommendations, you can, check out some of mine on those platforms. And you can go to my website, integrityandjoy.com, and there are links to those platforms. And you can also message me, and I'd be happy to recommend some teachers that I like. But play around, try some different people, and see what you like. And again, my meditation practice has evolved over time. There were times where I'm doing a lot of just silent meditation with a timer by myself. There are other times where I'm doing only guided meditations. And there are times in my life, like right now, where I kind of do a mix, right? So that's okay. There's no right or wrong. There's no right or wrong. That's the bottom line. There's no right or wrong, right? Oh, I don't know how to do it right. It's okay. Just try to be present, right? Try to be more of an observer. Try to refocus on your breathing. Try to refocus on someone's voice when they're doing a guided meditation. Just practice that. And you're not going to be perfect at it. Nope, not now, probably not ever. That's okay. That's not the point. It's a practice, right? And see what happens. Commit to doing it. Just one day at a time. Set that intention. I'm going to become more mindful. I'm going to develop a mindfulness practice. Maybe this week you set a goal. I'm going to try to meditate once a day, right when I get up, right? Or right before bed. There's some amazing bedtime meditations that will help you go to sleep, right? And help you go to sleep with like wonderful intentions and energy and really just powerful stuff. Aura started out focusing almost solely on that, right? So they have a ton, but Insight Timer does too. But commit this week. I'm going to meditate, even if it's just a minute or 2 or 3 every day, and see how that goes. And if if it's not terrible, I'm going to keep doing it another week, and then see how you feel after a couple of months of doing it, right? But for now, just do it today. Right? Maybe that's what you do when you're done with this podcast. Try a meditation. And let me know how it goes. Put something in the comments or a review, or send me a message. Reach out to me on social media, right? And let me know how it goes. Right? I'd love it. And if you're struggling with it at all, let me know that too. I'm glad to help. Right? Go to integrityandjoy.com. Let's either message, or we can set up a free consultation. Right? You could use your free consultation to talk about mindfulness. Right? Or join an integrity circle, and you can have people who can help support you in developing a mindfulness practice. That's a great idea too. So go to integrityandjoy.com for that. I hope this is helpful. I hope it resonated with you, and I hope if you're not meditating or practicing mindfulness that you give it a shot. It could change your life for real. For real, it's changed my life repeatedly, and millions of other people. There's something to it, folks. Anyways, thanks for listening. I really appreciate you being a part of this community. And don't forget to leave a rating. Please share this episode with as many people as you can. Anyone you know who might benefit from developing a mindfulness practice, who struggles maybe with worrying too much about the past or the future, share it with them. This might help them. It might change their life for real. And again, please make sure you're following here and on social media at Integrity and Joy. Thanks a lot. I hope you have a great rest of the day, and I look forward to continuing the conversation. Thanks for listening. If today's episode resonated with you, imagine what we could accomplish together in a one-to-one coaching session. Visit integrityandjoy.com to learn more and book your free consultation. Let's create the life you've been striving for.